I don't know. The third is shared by like Stardust Memories and
Sure.
Bullets Over Broadway and oh wait, no, sorry. Third is Manhattan. In fact,
Yes.
Broadway, Danny Rose, and Manhattan are tied for second.
People always overlook Alice.
Oh yeah, Alice. Alice is great.
And one of the things that I found funny on your Twitter was that you are an actor, musician, and criminal overlord. So I wanted to know, what crimes have you perpetrated recently, and what crimes do you plan on perpetrating in the future?
Oh, crimes of the mind. I don't really have the balls to actually go through with the execution, but in my mind, I'm a devious bastard. But just to get back to Alice for a second,
Mm-hmm.
I love that you brought that up because no one ever brings up Alice. But Alice has one of my favorite Mia Farrow moments. When she goes to the opium den, you know, I don't even know, do you remember that scene? She goes to the opium den, and she's never, clearly not a drug user.
Yes.
And she's really nervous, and the guy is sort of, you know, packing her pipe, and she's sort of rambling on nervously, and it doesn't seem to be kicking in at a certain point, and she doesn't think it's going to work for her, and at a certain point she just tells him, move the pipe a little. And she's like giving him demands about how he's holding the pipe.
Sure.
She goes from like a novice to like an old bro in a moment, and it's all Mia Farrow. It's It's so funny. They are one of the greatest comedy teams to ever get into a vicious lawsuit.
Right. What did you think of the new one? Did you see the To Rome with Love?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. No, I saw the Paris one, Paris at Midnight or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, I enjoyed it. You know, I think that even the shittiest Woody Allen movies are better than most American comedies, and just for this one reason alone, in Woody Allen movies, he pulls the camera back so that you can see, if it's a romantic comedy, say, you can see both characters on screen at the same time. He always has a great cast, actors with great chemistry, and you get to see the chemistry happening, the responses and stuff, you back and forth, you know?
Right.
And when you watch any American movie, like it's not American, he's not an American director. He doesn't direct like a commercial American director. And when you watch just about any sort of commercial American movie, it's always over the shoulder. You're seeing one character at a time, and often, you know, they'll, like, you're doing one person's coverage, and then you cut, and then they go to lunch, and then you come back, and you try to do the other side of that conversation, and you lose the
chemistry,
the real interaction.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, you lose the chemistry. They try to fix the timing in you know, editing,
posts, yeah.
and you're right in people's faces, and you can't, you know. And I think, for me, that is why even the shittiest Woody Allen movies tend to feel fresher than you know, Wedding Crashers or whatever the hell it is.
Well, sure, and that brings up a good point too. I think one of the best chemistries he's had in recent years, and I'm a huge fan of Everyone Says I Love You, and him and Goldie Hawn together doing that dance sequence is incredible.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah, I wish they would do more together. That was great. Yeah, he has an amazing ability to pick romantic partners in his films that he really clicks with. You've got her and Mia Farrow and Diane Keaton. I mean, you know, in terms of like
look at Jessica Harper, right, in Stardust Memories.
Yeah.
Can we talk about? Listen, I was a huge Ugly Betty fan, and I was so devastated when you left. And so I wanted to see what you could tell me about, you know, because it's like they wrote you off the story. They wrote you out the storyline, but, I mean, was that because Walter had cheated on Betty, or was that like, I mean, was there something really going on behind the scenes there? Because it seemed like he just left so abruptly.
I think it's at that time I was a series regular, so because I wasn't her boyfriend and wasn't, there wasn't enough for them to do with me, I think it just made sense. Also, the most vocal section of the fan base for that show loathed me because I cheated on her.
Yes.
So it was weird because I know that, people who, there were, that was the case where a lot of the fans of that show didn't, there are people that appreciated the work I was doing on that show.
Right.
But as I said, the most vocal fans, I think, tend to be the sort that don't differentiate like a performance from the character.
Right.
And so they, to have cheated on Ugly Betty was just unforgivable in their eyes. And so it was, I think it was probably a pretty easy decision for ABC to give me the axe on that, but it wasn't. I sort of expected it. it was fine. It was fun to do while it lasted.
Sure. But I kind
of felt like the show. Actually, when I left, I kind of felt like the tone of the show started to change, and they lost that. The first season, it had more of a, it was funny and more quirky than campy.
Right.
But it still had, sort of heart to it. And what I noticed, I didn't watch that much after I left, but I did notice it sort of started to get sort of campy and lose part of the, what made it so charming.
Right. I get it. Absolutely.
I just said that I noticed that when they left, when I was up at the show, they lost what made it so charming.
That's right. Well, I agree. But that's the thing I like so much about Walter, too, is you seem to just, you seem to fit that part so well. There was a sort of, even though he had cheated on Betty, he was sort of an innocent guy, right? So, how did you find that character?
You mean as
an actor? Yeah, how did you find Walter, right?
Just from the pilot, the scene in the pilot where I break up with her was the realest. I don't remember the text, but it was something that I could really, I was able to make personal.
Sure. Were you pulling from your own life for that breakup scene, if you will?
Yes. In terms of my relationship to her, I specified like a relationship that I had with someone else in the past, and sort of, like endowed her with like that relationship, so that I can feel that it was, personal.
Right.
Not feel that it was personal, but just give me something to do that, had, at least was coming from a truthful place,